Whoa! Oh, hello. I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? I can't tell you, but it does rhyme with Pulverine.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy Will coming at y'all once again. We are continuing the X-Men review series, baby, and that's right, we're getting into one of my personal favorite installments of the entire franchise, and I'm talking about the original, the OG Deadpool from 2016. And let me tell you what, for some of you Zoomers out there, some of you youngins that weren't around for this thing, or even before, I heard about Deadpool from both Marvel vs. Capcom games and the original X-Men animated series from a quick cameo. And then I played the PS3 game back in the early 2010s when I was just getting into high school. And I was just a big fan of Deadpool, loved him in the comics, cartoons, what have you. Was very disappointed by his ultimate betrayal by the end of the X-Men Origins Wolverine film from 2011. So yeah, man, it was 2007, 2008. So it was highly disappointing back, or whatever year it was. But it was highly disappointing at the time seeing my boy Ryan Reynolds, who was perfectly cast to play Deadpool, and they fucked it up and made him look like a discount Baraka. It was absolute madness, y'all. And it took a long time. It was like a decade or something like that. Ryan Reynolds kept the dream alive with Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, I think, are the names of the writers, the guys that were also did Zombieland, the OG Zombieland, back in like 2009, if I'm not mistaken. So that's always been one of my favorite comedies of all time, one of my favorite horror comedies, if you will, and always had a great heart and kind of like a little bit of a very like not family vibe, but it just had like this heart to it that really worked with all the zany humor and the dark humor and everything like that, and some of the more intense action sequences as well with Zombieland for what the style of film they were going for at the time. And those guys were the perfect writers for this. And it took a long, long time, but after, I believe, Ryan Reynolds and them leaked the footage during Comic-Con like 2013 or 14 or something like that, fans lost their shit, including me. I remember seeing like there's a Deadpool concept trailer or some bullshit. I was like, what? Deadpool movie? Potential Deadpool movie? Are you fucking kidding? I need to watch this shit right now. I'm typing this in. I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, it's Ryan Reynolds' voice. Oh, shit. That's the comic book accurate costume. Is this real? This looks real. It was the whole sequence of him sitting on the bridge. He was listening to Salt and Pepper in this sequence at the time, but he had a radio playing some music, of course, that turned out to be Shoot Baby by Salt and Pepper or whatever. And then, he's doing a little doodle and everything, jumps off the bridge, maximum effort, falls into the car, has that crazy, zany, and hilarious action scene that they even plussed up when they actually got to do the real version of the movie and everything like that. But like I said, all of us fans lost our shit. And 20th Century Fox at the time, before they were bought out by Disney, they could not ignore this any longer. They greenlit the film. They gave it like a $60 to $70 million budget or something like that. A low budget for these big comic book movies, obviously not little money in the grand scheme of things, as we all know. But it finally happened. Deadpool went down. It came out Valentine's Day weekend, 2016, and absolutely loved it. Still love it. I have so much fun every single time I watch this film, man. Every single time. Ryan Reynolds put his entire heart and soul into this thing and had such an amazing performance as Deadpool and captured everything you love about him. The fucked up dark depravity of him. The silly zaniness we've come to know from him and Van Wilder and all these different things. But also the really over-the-top and insane nature of the character of Deadpool, when he's written by certain writers in the comics, especially in like the the early mid 2000s, you know what I mean? Because he was a little bit more serious in the 1994 original comic book he premiered in, and all the early mid 90s stuff that he was in. He was a much more kind of serious tone character at the time, but by the time I think it's Joe Kelly maybe, and like Rob Liefeld, obviously, as we all know, one of the creator of Deadpool. Once those guys started writing him and having more fun with him, he became synonymous with being this really zany, over the top, and funny character. And Ryan Reynolds just embodied that perfectly throughout this film. And when he's hitting the emotional beats, it works. When he's hitting the comedy beats, it works. When they're doing the action scenes, it's super awesome. It's stuff you've seen before, but just the whole physicality and the nature in which that Deadpool's able to do these like crazy ass like turn like these crazy ass spins in the air, and the way he's able to count the bullets when he's shooting these fools when he's got 12 bullets because he left it on Dopinder's taxi. It's just so many fun elements and bits to this movie, man. It's endless. It's almost like too many things to quote. You know what I mean? Like, this shit's gonna have nuts in it. Like the whole sequence of him becoming Deadpool, if you will, after he gets his mutation activated, and he's trying to figure it out before he gets the classic Deadpool suit when he starts being a merc with the mouth because he's got a fucked up face, so he needs to have the mask to cover it. You know, and I love the whole like montage that they go on with the funny ass Captain Deadpool song, the way he's kind of going out taking fools out in hilarious, zany, and fucked up violent ways, which is what you want from Deadpool. And they just nailed that perfectly, man. And by the time he gets to his real suit and all that stuff, and he's like, "Where's Francis?" Who's Ajax, of course, the main villain of the film. And it's just so fun to see Ryan Reynolds doing his thing, like the whole bit with the snowplow where he's like, "I'm gonna run you over eventually, and if you don't tell me what's going on, I'm gonna kill you in about 5 minutes when I catch up to you." Like, it's just so freaking hilarious, man. I just love this movie, man. It's just fantastic. I have such a blast every time I watch this movie, man. Just so many great bits, so many cool Easter eggs and references throughout all the meta humor to where obviously he's addressing the fourth wall and all that stuff. And when like Colossus is like, "Come on, I'm gonna take you to the professor," he's all, "Which one? McAvoy or Stewart?" These timelines are so confusing, just alluding to the fact that 20th Century Fox has no clear continuity for any of the X-Men films, and that's still true to this day. Now that it's all over and that era ended, that is definitely true by the time it all ended with Dark Phoenix 5 years ago. And man, there's just so many fun bits in this movie, man. I can't say that enough. Marina Baccarin as his lady in the film, as his love interest, Vanessa, I think. I probably got the name wrong. But I thought she did a great job and had such awesome chemistry with Ryan Reynolds. They were just so perfect together and played off each other so well. And he has great chemistry with everyone in the film. Ed Skrein, however you say that, as the main villain of Ajax, aka Francis, did such a great job playing this like sadistic, crazy but badass villain at the same time, and I thought he did a really good job at balancing the over-the-top nature and playing off of Ryan Reynolds well, but still playing it serious as a villain and not taking himself too seriously, but almost taking himself too seriously in a more satirical kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing I love with this film. All the actors are in on it. The tone is consistent. It's never just so funny and zany that you can't pay attention to any story, and it never gets so dark and depressing with the cancer diagnosis and everything like that to distract you or make you feel like everything's very jarring from the humor and the comedic side to the darker side and the more fucked up real life emotional things that Wade Wilson as a character is dealing with, having this cancer diagnosis, and him and that kind of snowballing all these different things to happen to where he ended up getting the healing factor and the abilities he has to be the Merc with a mouth. So the way that they were able to work this in with an actual really nice emotional storyline without getting too sappy, too over the top, like too lovey-dovey, I thought they did a great job at really ringing everything in and really just bringing all these elements together in such a phenomenal way. And I can never give Tim Miller enough credit as the director of this thing for really being able to bring Ryan Reynolds and Paul and Wernick's visions to life and really capturing the essence of the character and really just directing these awesome action sequences. He does such a great job with the actors. I can't remember the guy that plays Colossus, but that was the straight comic book accurate Colossus pretty much. I loved it. Russian accent, great stuff. Getting punched in the dick by Gina Carano's character of Angel Dust, hilarious stuff. I know some people kind of hate her out there in the internet world, but I don't. I'm very disappointed she's not in The Mandalorian anymore, but it's a whole big conversation from a few years back, so I'm not going to dive into that now. But this was the first film I ever seen her in after she had did her first actual role in a film, which I think was Fast and Furious, like Fast 8, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But that was where she kind of got her start, I think, and then she's getting a foray into the Marvel Universe with Deadpool, and I thought she did a great job holding her own, being a character that doesn't say too much, but just plays off the physicality of being a badass, i.e. her being a fucking MMA fighter and a pretty damn accomplished one at that. So all of those elements really played well together, and just great stuff. Awesome soundtrack with the shoot, ba-doop, you know what I mean? You got the salt and pepper up in there. DMX, X Gon' Give It To Ya, which was seen and heavily marketed in the trailers as well, but played super awesome in the movie. Wham, of course, Careless Whisper in the freaking closing credits. And I love how he's making the reference to Wham throughout the whole thing, and how Deadpool is essentially, because of Ryan Reynolds, is now too a Wham fan. And for those that don't know, that was an 80s duo. I forget the other guy's name, but it was George Michael as well, an 80s kind of new wave kind of group that was going on in the mid-late 80s. But I digress. But just letting some of you Zoomers know. But yeah, man. So just so many fun, awesome sequences with this movie, especially the third act where they're on the helicarrier that a lot of people were theorizing was an Avengers helicarrier, but obviously isn't or wasn't at the time. But I guess retroactively in Deadpool and Wolverine, they could make it that way. I'm just fucking speculating and throwing shit out there, but who the hell knows? But there's just so many fun sequences, man, in this film. And like I said, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, I forget the actress that played her. She's really awesome. Loved her in Tragedy Girls from a few years ago. Really great actress. Like I said, just phenomenal performances all around. The humor is so on point. The writing is so on point. A perfect balance of heart, humor, action, and violence just sprinkled together in the most beautiful R-rated comic book film I could imagine, with anything crazy and as zany and as fucked up as what Deadpool can be, man. So make sure, if you haven't seen this film for whatever reason and you didn't mind me spoiling some of these elements for you, go out now. Go find it on Disney Plus, get someone's password, find the damn DVD, find a bootleg, do whatever you got to do to watch the original Deadpool if you've never seen it. It is one of the best X-Men films of all time, one of the best origin story films of all time, and in my opinion, one of the best comedies in the past 20 years. So y'all let me know what you think about the original Deadpool down below the video, man. It's Deadpool and Wolverine week. It's motherfucking Deadpool and Wolverine week. Deadpool and Wolverine's coming out this Friday. We're going to have a spoiler-free review for you this weekend on Friday, and then getting into the weekend, so make sure, if you don't want to get spoiled on anything, we're going to have the whole breakdown right here. We're going to be doing Logan, the Wolverine, Deadpool 1 and 2. It's Deadpool and Wolverine week. We're finally going to be ending off the X-Men review series, and we're going to cap it all off with a tier ranking all the 13 installments. I'm going to have a little short review for the New Mutants. I'm not going to be able to watch that till after Deadpool and Wolverine, but I will have watched it before I do the tier ranking. By the time you see that a week and a half from now, or within a week or so, you will know what I mean. But we're going to be going through all 13 installments, ranking them, S tier, F, whatever, wherever I see it fit. We're going to be ranking that as well to kind of cap off the end of the Fox X-Men era, leading into now the MCU era of the Mutants and Deadpool and all that good jazz. So make sure, if you dig all that Marvel goodness, you click the playlist right up here. We got all the previous X-Men series reviews that we're going to be doing, that we did. We also reviewed X-Men 97 on the channel, so make sure you check that out as well. That's going to be in one of the playlists, or in there on the channel. So if you're digging what we're doing around here, make sure you're clicking all those buttons below the video, sharing us with your friends and family. It really does help the channel grow immensely. Share us with the fellow nerds out there, and make sure you get in those comments and engage with us, engage with me. I love responding to you guys and getting into different different discussions about various topics on the channel, whether that's rankings, reviews, whether we agree or disagree. It's all about love and passion and just having fun with fandom. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. The X-Men review series is almost done, but we're not done having fun yet. So make sure you stay tuned, don't sleep, and I'm gonna catch y'all again real soon. Maximum effort. Peace.